If you are tired of the complexities of cloud migration, then Azure Migrate can help in seamless migration of your workloads to the cloud. I welcome you to this tutorial about migrating workloads to the Azure Cloud using Azure Migrate service. In this tutorial, you will learn all about the Azure Migrate service. Why shall we care about the Azure Migrate service where there are third-party tools available? The key features and the benefits of Azure Migrate. Benefits of using Azure Migrate service. I will show you an architectural diagram to share the components of the Azure Migrate service and discuss about them, how to use the Azure Migrate service, what components are involved, and how this migration takes place. We'll take you through a step-by-step demonstration on discovering the servers, then performing the assessment, creating the business plans, and migrating the servers to the Azure Cloud. Azure Migrate service is designed to simplify the process of moving your on-prem workloads to the cloud. It offers a range of tools and services to assess, plan, and execute your migration. This helps in the seamless migration of your workloads to the cloud with the step-by-step guide. You will notice during this demonstration that how easy it is to migrate your workloads to the cloud using Microsoft's Azure native service, Azure Migrate. The Azure Migrate is a comprehensive cloud migration and modernization solution that is provided by Microsoft Azure. Talking about the key features and benefits of Azure Migrate, number one is discovery and assessment. You can perform the discovery of your workloads, then generate the assessment report where you can see the readiness report, whether the servers are good candidates to be migrated or can be migrated but with some remediation or with some conditions, or cannot be migrated. You can create business plans. It helps you in identifying the cost optimization, how you can use the collected data, the metadata of your on-premises workloads, and use it in the assessment to decide and plan that to which virtual machine size or which resource or service SKU you should go with to optimize the cost and the performance. Number two is migration planning. We create the business plans and we do the assessment. Through this assessment, we help identifying the potential challenges and the risks. It also provides the cost estimates, as I mentioned earlier, for the migration and ongoing cloud operations. This helps in translating your CapEx into the OpEx. Number three is migration execution. You start migration where we have different methods of doing it, be it live migration, offline migration, or application migrations. It offers tools for migrating servers, databases, and the applications. It also provides the guidance on optimizing the performance and the cost in the cloud. Number four is modernization. This tool also helps in modernizing the applications by leveraging the Azure's cloud native services. It also provides the tools for containerizing applications and migrating them to the Azure Kubernetes service. It offers guidance in optimizing application performance and scalability in the cloud. Number five is centralized management. Azure Migrate provides a unified dashboard or unified solution where you follow the step-by-step guide depending on your migration goals, and you configure the things in a seamless manner, and you monitor and track your migration in real time. Offers the insights into the resource utilization and cost optimization. It also enables automated workflows for migration and the management tasks that can help in optimizing lots of cost in terms of migrating the workloads to the cloud. Talking about the benefits of using Azure Migrate service, number one is reduced downtime. We can minimize the downtime during the migration process of these workloads. Improved performance, it optimizes the performance and the scalability of the applications in the cloud. Lower cost, we can reduce the infrastructure and operational cost with the help of it. As I said earlier, that we translate our capex into the opex. Enhanced security, it provides benefits from Azure's robust security features. Finally, increased agility, it provides the accelerated innovation and the time to market. In nutshell, by leveraging the Azure Migrate, organizations can streamline their cloud migration journey, they can reduce risks and achieve the significant benefits in terms of cost, performance, and security. Talking about the architecture of the migration, the Azure Migrate can help you migrating your VMware workloads or Hyper-V virtual machines or your physical servers or other virtualization platforms that you use. You have to download and configure the appliance that collects the metadata from these servers. You register this appliance in your on-premises data center and provide the necessary access. It collects the metadata and then sends this raw metadata to the Azure Migrate service, which is then used to perform the assessment of those servers and generate the readiness report, and for the cost uh, assessment, or you can say for cost optimization, it is used. Once the assessment is done, then we can start replicating our machines, and then we can cut over from on premises and migrate the workloads to run in the cloud. Let's look into the demonstration on how to discover, assess, plan, and migrate the on-prem servers to the Azure. The journey for migrating the workloads from on-premises to Azure Cloud starts with Azure Migrate project. I go to the free search and type Azure Migrate to open up this service called Azure Migrate, where I can add the required tools to do the assessment of the servers, databases, or web apps, and start the replication or the migration of these servers. Well, in the migration goals, I will specify that what exactly I want to migrate. I can migrate the servers, databases, web apps. Then here I create the project. This is my subscription where I want to create the project. A resource group, which will be a logical container to contain all the resources used by the Azure Migrate tool. Then a friendly name for this project. This can be 3 to 34 letters and can have hyphen in this. Then the geography where you want to store the data, or you can say this metadata of this Azure Migrate project. I'm going with United States. The connectivity method, we have public and private endpoints. If you want to connect privately, then you can go with private endpoints. I have done a separate video on private endpoints and service endpoints. You can refer to that on my YouTube channel. Then click create. This project creation will take few minutes. You can wait for some time for the project to be created to start further. Here I will pause the video and resume it once the project is created. If I take you to the project here, you see project equals to the Azure Migrate project that I created. The very first thing I have to do here is the adding assessment tool to do the assessment, and that I'm going to do with the Azure Migrate, that I can use to discover, build the cases, business cases, dependency analysis, assess I can do. So these are the various things that I can perform with the Azure Migrate tool. I also have the option to add the third-party tools. Here you see below there is an option add more tools, and these are the different tools that I can use, be it CloudMIs for cloud assessment I can use for VMware or Hyper-V virtual machine type of workloads that are supported. And the features that it offers have been explained in this column here. You can learn about that by going to the documentation. Here we have CloudSphere Core and Device 42, Turbonomic or Unify Cloud. So I'll choose the Azure Migrate itself and we'll start the discovery with that. The next thing after the discovery we do is the migration, and for that we also can add the third-party migration tools like Carbonite or CoreNTech, Rackware, Zato. These are some of the tools and their supported workloads that are there, and then we have the documentations related to those third-party tools and their configurations. You also can look into the pricing of those tools. Well, these are the third-party solutions for the migration. In my demonstration, I'll be using Azure Migrate for both, the assessment and the migration. Let us go back to the Azure Migrate tool and start the discovery. We have two options, either using the appliance you want to collect the data or using import. Using import, you can put the data in the CSV format and upload it, whereas I'm going to use the appliance. It asks me that is your server or your workload is virtualized. In my case, yes, it's virtualized with Hyper-V. And to start with this, I will have to discover the virtual machines that I want to migrate. So for that, I will have to first create an appliance and register it in my on-premises data center. And that will collect the metadata and send that metadata to the Azure Migrate project service. And this service will then help you in generating the assessment or business cases that you can create. For this, you will have to go with step by step. The very first thing you have to do is you have to generate a project key, and this project key will be used to register the appliance, the Azure Migrate appliance, in on-premises, so that the appliance is aware to send the data or metadata collected from on-premises to the correct Azure Migrate project. I will provide it a friendly name and will generate the key. This will also take few seconds to minutes. You need to wait for some time till the time the key is generated. So you need to wait and let the resources, Azure resources, be created. Do not skip this step and don't think of like downloading the VHD or the appliance and then creating that appliance in on-premises. So let this step be completed first. Once this is done, so some Azure resources will be created, then you're good to download the Azure Migrate appliance. You also can go with that .zip file in case you don't want the VHD to create the virtual machine. So with .zip, you can install it as a software or this appliance with the help of PowerShell scripts. You can set up the appliance. There are prerequisites that you need to qualify, as you see that the running server 2022, which it is running on 16 gig of memory and 8 virtual CPUs with 80 gig of disk space. The appliance must be configured in on-premises. So these are some minimum hardware requirements that you need to qualify in case you want to fine-tune the performance of this Azure Migrate appliance. Then this appliance will collect the data and send it. So we need to wait for some time, and after this, you will see here you can manage existing appliances anytime once the key has been generated. I can take this key from here, so I can see there are total appliances number 1, and then AZ Migrate, and this is unregistered. So I'll take this key and copy it somewhere to my system. I will need that later during the deployment of the Azure Migrate appliance in my on-premises data center, where I will have to register it with this key. So I need to copy it somewhere. I will download this VHD file. I'm copying the link of this, and I now move to my on-premises infrastructure where I have a Hyper-V server. And on this Hyper-V server, Hyper-V host, where I have few virtual machines, I'm going to register this appliance. So I have started downloading it. You see, this server is having Hyper-V already on it, and I have created two virtual machines also on this server as App Server 1 and App Server 2 that I will be migrating from on-premises to the Azure Cloud for the demonstration. On the same server, I will be creating the Azure Migrate appliance to collect the metadata from this Hyper-V server and send it to the Azure Migrate service. Well, I create the virtual machine for my Azure Migrate virtual appliance. Either you can use the VM import wizard and you can import that appliance, or you can create the virtual machine. I'm creating it in advance to save some time because the download is in progress, and meanwhile it is getting done. So I'll be having my virtual machine ready, and I just need to attach the hard disk at the end of it. So I will attach the hard disk later. I've created the VM with that configuration. In fact, to qualify the minimum requirements of that, I'm going to set up the configuration of this virtual machine. So the processor, I'm going with minimum 8 processors, virtual processors that I'm going to use. Apply. And then the memory is actually 1024, or I think 10 gig I configured. Yeah, it was 10 gig, not 1024, so it's 10,240. But yeah, it was looking for 16 gig, so I can make it 16 gig as well if required. So with 10 gig also it can work. So later I will change that. First let's see that if the download has been completed. So it is about to complete. We'll wait for a few more seconds. 1 minute is left. This is the VHD file of 12 gig in size that I downloaded on my Hyper-V host, and this is about the prerequisites. And here you see that 16 gig. So 16 gig memory, 8 virtual CPUs, and 80 gig disk space that is required. To make it 16 gig, I can put the required configuration on my appliance. So this is recommended actually, though it says prerequisite, but I have used the appliance with less than that memory as well. But yeah, it depends to the workload that you're going to assess as well. So in testing environment, it may be fine, but yes, follow the guidelines that have been published by Microsoft. So it will be 16,384 megabytes that I'm going to configure. So memory 16,384, and I configure this. You can have a look to the prerequisites in much more details from the documentation. The link has been given for Microsoft Learn. That shows you that for the Hyper-V assessment, the assessment limit is that 35,000 servers in a single project you can do at a time. Project limit, so this is about the project limit. You can create multiple projects actually in a subscription. And discovery, so 5,000 servers running Hyper-V servers you can discover through this, and the appliance can connect to up to 300 Hyper-V hosts as well. Hyper-V host requirements are these. So server can be standalone or can be in a cluster. In my case, it is my standalone Hyper-V server. It's not part of a cluster of Hyper-V. And this is the Azure Migrate appliance requirement. You need to check for the appliance that it has the access on TCP port 3389 and Hyper-V host cluster. So the detailed documentation is there. Refer to this document for the configuration of your appliance. Let's go back to this and extract this appliance on this system. So if I take you to the downloads, I have this zip file here. I will extract it. Let me extract it to a different location. This is F where I will extract it. And there we go. This extraction of the file will also take some time, so you need to wait for a few minutes. I'll discuss few other aspects till then, and then here you see that configure the appliance and the initiate discovery. So you will initiate the discovery once this appliance has been configured. You can learn more about that, like how to configure the appliance. So step-by-step guide is there that will help you in configuring this, and then you need to wait for a few minutes to complete this assessment once the configuration is completed. Well, this is the tutorial that shows you about the prerequisites that are required for this. Then decide which assessment you want to use, assessment tool you want to use. You run the assessment. That's what I did actually, and you see this assessment that you can create. So you will see this kind of thing shortly. I mean, assessment I have not done so far. I'm in the discovery phase right now. So first I will discover the servers, but yeah, the assessment you will be seeing shortly. And this is about the pricing, the offer, currency, discount. In the assessment we need to put all these things to get more accurate data about the cost for the virtual machines or for the storage. So you see here we have the Azure readiness report, that what virtual machines can be migrated, and monthly cost estimation and the storage cost estimation as well. And to get those figures in a uh, you know to get these better figures, you need to fine tune your parameters. So these are the things that you need to configure. Data points availability, that you can go with. You have the option to put the confidence as well. I'll be talking about that once we will be doing the assessment. Well, this is about the configuration process of the appliance. Let me take you to that document again in case you are looking to find more details here. Do not forget to visit the description of the video. I'll be putting all those links and the required reference material into the description of this video. And if you have not subscribed to the channel so far, so please do subscribe it to get the latest updates on the videos that I do. And hit the like button if you like this video. So this is the SQL, and here in the SQL it's talking about the prerequisites that are there for the SQL migration in case you are planning to do that. Decide which sizing criteria to use for this. So this is about prerequisites. Here you see decide which sizing criteria to use. As on premises or performance based. So as on premises, whatever your configuration is on premises, that will be recommended in the assessment for Microsoft Azure as well. On performance basis, it will be based on the utilization or consumption of the resources. So it will suggest the VM size accordingly. It can help into optimizing the cost. Here we have the the things that we can apply in the assessment, the currency, in which currency we want to get the assessment, the discounts, uptime. You need to put these things upfront. You need to provide so that you can get the accurate data. This is configurable, this is adjustable while creating the assessment. You will see that shortly. I'll be creating some assessments and the business plans to initiate the migration of my server. So this is the screenshot that shows you that how you see the assessments and then the assessment reports at the end of it. So this is for SQL. How do we do this? Discovered entities, recommended deployments. You can refer to these documents anytime later. I will be putting them in the description of this video. Well, this is 70% done. Still 30% of extraction of this file is left. Now I paused and resumed this video here, and now I go to the ID controller and attach that VHD that is there in my F drive where I extracted that appliance. I'll move to the F drive here, and then Azure Migrate Appliance. This is the virtual hard disks directory where I have the VHD. Click OK on that, and then the VHD is associated. I'll connect to this virtual machine in Hyper-V and will start this VM. This machine is connected with the external virtual switch that I have created already on this Hyper-V server, which means that it has the internet outbound connectivity, and that too without any proxy. So it has a direct connectivity to the internet, outbound internet connectivity, so that this Migrate appliance can connect with the Azure Migrate project. I can register it there and can send the metadata for doing the assessment of the virtual machines running on this Hyper-V host. Well, let me make it full screen view. This is my Azure Migrate appliance running on the host machine. There will be some initial configuration. You need to set up the initial password for the local administrator of this Azure Migrate. Then this is a web application, basically the Azure Migrate service, and this will be opened automatically, or you can access it from the local host and the defined port that it has been bound with. So from IIS manager, you also can figure out that where the binding of this has been done. So you will see that shortly. Let that machine be powered on, and I'll log in, and we'll set up the password first, and we'll log in, and then we'll configure this appliance. In case you want me to do videos on more infrastructure or automation or the security related topics in Microsoft Azure, do let me know in the comment section. The migration projects are quite time taking. It takes from several weeks to months for the organizations to migrate their workloads, because a thorough planning is required to do. So the same is here. You need to have lots of patience to do the migration, even in the testing or training environment as well. Well, I'm going to set up this local password, and in fact that's the purpose of doing this video, to save your time, because here I have the flexibility to pause and resume the video, rather than investing the time by waiting for that configuration to do. So the things that require several hours to do can be done in an hour of video, but yes, that requires a high level of motivation also to watch this video till the end. Here we go. So this is the Azure Migrate appliance, which has the Windows Server 2022 operating system. And on this machine, this appliance has been already configured. Not only the operating system, but the appliance is configured. You see some of the icons are there on the desktop as well for this appliance. And now it will launch the browser automatically, and will launch this application with the name of the virtual machine, or you can use the local host or the IP address of this local server, and then you can define the particular socket with the port. So have some patience, wait for a few seconds, it will come up automatically. You see this is the server name, and then colon, and then 44368. So that's the port number that has been used. The binding is done. You can go to the server manager, and IIS manager is there. The tool is also there installed, so you can go to the tools in the server manager and check the web application and its binding that has been done with 44368. You can change that also in case you have that sort of requirement. Well, let this appliance be opened. What I'm doing here is I'm taking that key to this lab environment or this on-premises environment from my Azure portal. So I copied that. First I will be taking it to the Hyper-V host, because I have this Azure Migrate as a virtual appliance. So I take that key to the host where this Azure Migrate appliance is running. First I take it there, Then through the clipboard sharing, I'm taking it to this Azure Migrate appliance. So this is the notepad I have launched in the Azure Migrate, and I have taken that key. I'll be copying that key to register this, because this will be required, of course, later on once I initiate the configuration of the Azure Migrate appliance. There we go. I launch that once again. So it comes with terms of use. I have to accept that. It'll do some initial prerequisite checks. So checking the connectivity to Azure, checking time is in sync. So that has been passed. Now it's asking for the key. I will put the key here, and then this verify button will take a while to highlight. So right now it's grayed out, so don't think of like anything is wrong with that. Here we go with this check. Usually people tend to think of like there is something wrong that we are doing, and it doesn't highlight that for a few initial seconds, so you need to have that patience. Okay, so here was the key. Okay, so appliance will look like that it's working a little bit slow, but actually it's doing lots of configuration at the back end and checking lots of prerequisites as well, that whether this appliance meets those initial prerequisites or not. So it's going to do that. Once it is good to go, then it will highlight the next options. And the good thing is that you have a step-by-step process here, so it makes this configuration seamless. You need not to you do not complicate the things remain easier to do. So here you see that this is the key, and the verify button will be highlighted, and click on that verify. So this was my key. Let us just leave that and then click on verify. So it will verify that yes, this is the Azure Migrate project and the key has been verified with that project. So it is the validation process that has been done. Now it's initiating the auto update service to install the latest updates for the appliance. Okay, so this may take few minutes. So it can take up to 5 minutes. Again, you need to have some patience for these updates. Once these updates are done, all the rest of the prerequisite checks will be done, and then we will be logging into our Microsoft Azure account. So Azure user login you need to provide here, and that login will ensure that you can connect to the project, and this metadata that this appliance will collect. For that also you need to authenticate, you need to provide the credentials, right? It's not like that it will literally collect the data immediately from this server and send it to the Azure Migrate service. That can be a security breach. So you need to do that. Then that will be the next step. So let's wait for a few seconds here, and the auto update status check will be done, and after that we'll be logging in through my Azure account. Here we go. And now I will click on login. It will provide a device code that you can copy this device code and you can log in. You can either log in here. Basically, I'm logging in from outside this Azure Migrate appliance because my credentials are already stored in the vault, my browser's vault. So I'm going to the microsoft.com/device login, and I'll put that code here in the browser. So this is the URL actually that you use to authenticate through a device, and oops, that's not the code. That's my virtual machine appliance, and this code is this H86. I'm giving it one another try by copying it and taking it to the browser, but since it's inside a virtual machine, so the clipboard sharing from the VM to this host directly is not there, because it's a VM running on a Hyper-V host, and then that Hyper-V host is running inside this lab. So I'm putting it manually. Here we go. I could have authenticated there itself, but I do not remember my Microsoft account's password. That's the problem. That's the problem because when we use the vaults or the credential stores these days, so that is really a problem. Then we do not remember these passwords, which they are supposed to, right? They need to be remembered. But yeah, that's fine. I have completed the authentication, and I'll close this window, and there we go. And basically I could have waited for that also to complete, but yeah, I can rerun this prerequisite check that okay, whether all the things have been configured and are in place to work with. So checking the connectivity, checking the sync of the time, then the key, the project key that I did the verification of, so it was also validated. Then the auto updates for the appliance, and then the Azure login. There we go. Once this prerequisite check is done, then our next step will be to uh, discover the source computers, and for that we will require the credentials, so we can store those credentials and use them, be it the cluster or be it the standalone server. So we can manage our credentials there, and then we can use that. So this is my account. Actually, this is my Microsoft account. So initial prerequisite check will be now completed. Here we go. Latest updates verified, account appliance is up to date. This is the account that has been used, it's registering it. It can take up to 10 minutes, so again you need to wait for some time. I'm pausing the video, and we'll resume the video once again, and then we'll show you the discovery of the servers from the on-premises. So here we go, the device has been registered. Scroll down, add the credentials for your servers, Hyper-V hosts, or the credentials for your servers. So I'm putting my local admin credentials here. So this is the username. If it is part of the domain, your Hyper-V servers are part of the domain, you can use domain accounts as well. So it's nothing but the credential being stored, and so that you can use it or reuse it, I must say, again and again to add the servers. This is the password. I can show that. That's not a problem. It's just a lab. Okay, so here we go. And now I will scroll down. That next button has been highlighted. That's to add the discovery source. What exactly you want to discover? You can put the FQDN of that host or the IP address, multiple items, or you can import a CSV as well, or you can put single item. In my case, I have a single standalone Hyper-V host that is named as host, right? Host name is host. Mapped credentials, this is my local admin credential of this Hyper-V host that I have added, that gives the permissions to this tool to discover this source and send the metadata from this local machine. There is a Microsoft Learn documentation that what Hyper-V Azure Migrate agent for Hyper-V or for VMware retrieves, what data it retrieves. So I'll put that in the description of the video. Here you see provide server credentials for the SQL. I'm not doing it for the SQL, so I'll disable it. And actually I hit that toggle button, but it did nothing because the appliance was a little bit slow. So anyways, I will go back because my start discovery is not highlighted. So I will again go back and will hit this button. Here we go. Nothing takes place here. Anyways, let's have some patience. I'm disabling this option because I'm not using the SQL migration. So this is for server credentials to perform the software inventory, agentless dependency analysis, or discover for SQL Server instances and databases. So I'm not doing it agentless. I have the agent installed on the Hyper-V servers, and I have disabled this. This is for Azure Stack HCI. In case you're using on-premises HCI, you can onboard the HCI. There is a process for that as well. And I click on this Start Discovery button to initiate the discovery. There we go. This is for HCI. Meanwhile, it starts the discovery, though I hit that. So um, this is the process of onboarding your HCI clusters. So you provide the Azure Stack HCI cluster information. HCI stands for Hyperconverged Infrastructure, and there you have the compute and storage virtualized. That's why it is called hyperconverged. So you deploy the virtual machines and the virtual SAN using the HCI, and you also can virtualize your network in case that's optional. Well, I will refresh this, and this can take some time to discover this. So you see that refreshing the tool is in progress, and once the appliance is registered and has been discovered, okay, the on-prem servers have been discovered, then you will be able to create the business cases, dependency analysis. So at this moment you see that there is one registered appliance, Azure Migrate appliance, and discovery is in progress. So discovered servers, SQL servers, web apps, SAP systems, that's all 0, and I only have the one registered Azure Migrate appliance. Rest of the options are grayed out, be it business cases, dependency analysis, assessment you want to do. Discovery is in progress. Again, we need to have some patience. For few minutes we need to wait. I paused my video and resumed. It has discovered 3 servers. I clicked on those 3 servers. I need to have some patience again to see this inventory to be completed. So those things that you see here, that credentials not available, will be gone, and this is there for agentless dependency and software inventory. In fact, these things I did not perform. You remember that I disabled that for the database instances, software inventory, or for the dependencies. Okay, so that's why it's not there. Now I have the option to create the business cases. Why do you create the business cases? Because you want to get a better return on investment to migrate to the Azure. There is a detailed documentation on this. So the business case capability helps you build a business proposal to understand how Azure can bring the most value to your business. It highlights on these things: on-prem versus Azure total cost ownership, or current on-prem versus on-prem and total cost ownership. I will share this link in the description of this video. You can refer to that. Let me start creating a business case that I can use later and show you the details of that. This is the target location where I want to migrate my workload to. Migration strategy: reserved instances or reserved plus Azure saving plan. I have discount if I have got any discount from Microsoft, so I can apply them here. So it gives me the better or more accurate figures. And then here we go. This will create the business case by this name demo that I defined. I will not wait for that actually to see, but yeah, you can see the business case report or assumptions. Next, we go to the dependency analysis. We can add the servers, remove the servers to this dependency analysis. Here we have the option to do the assessment. I want to do it for Azure virtual machines. I want to migrate my on-prem servers to Azure VMs. Assessment type is Azure virtual machine. Discovery source is either they are imported servers or these are discovered from the Azure Migrate appliance, and this is through Azure Migrate appliance. You see, it was performance based assessment. Here we see target location West US 2, storage type 3. Okay, here we have the option that what kind of storage I want to use: premium disk, SSD, standard SSD, ultra disk. Saving options, if I have any savings okay, on the compute. Performance or as on premises. So when I go with performance, I can optimize the cost, because suppose I have a high-end configuration machine in on premises, but it's underutilized, so it will calculate and will suggest me a VM size which is in the lower configuration side, so that I can save the cost. VM series comfort factor, that okay, I give some comfort actually, that okay, it can take some liberty to go 2x 1.5x. so I want to have better performance. I want to reserve some resources for that, so that I can do. These are the parameters that I can fine tune and define them to get more accurate data, as I mentioned earlier, to get that data in my assessment report and apply that assessment during the migration later. Well, this was the West US 2 that I've selected here, where I will be migrating my virtual machines to. This is the assessment name. I'll give it a friendly name. The group name. Okay, so this is the group name, app servers, and this is the appliance that I have, and then I choose the servers, not all of them, excuse me. So I'll clear this selection and we'll use the, I mean, you have the options that you can pick one or multiple or maybe all. So I have selected two servers, app server 1 and 2, for doing the assessment. So assessment report will be generated for these two discovered servers. Well, this will take some time once again, so we need to wait for some time. I will be pausing the video and will be coming back. There we go. So we have got no assessment. Fine. We can refresh this tool and it'll display, okay, the data. As you see, there is no assessment. I refreshed it. Refreshing this tool. Here you will see Azure VM 0, Azure SQL, Web App, SAP, or for Azure VMware Solution 0 assessment. Let it be refreshed. This is the assessment by the name test. I will open this and you will see the dashboard here that shows you the readiness report, that what virtual machines are ready to migrate to Azure, what are ready with condition, not ready, or ready with readiness is unknown. So I need to wait for some time for this readiness unknown to be converted into ready for Azure. These virtual machines are good candidates to be migrated. We will do that in fact shortly. This is the estimated cost, storage cost, distribution of the OS licenses supported, distribution by Windows server versions. So this assessment report can be applied during the migration and can help me to choose the right size of virtual machines in Azure as well. This is the business plan that I created by the name demo. It is still getting created, so I can again come back to this and see this business plan. Well, this is the assessment that I just shown you. This is the test assessment. All right, so it's still readiness unknown. I just wanted to see that, but yes, it takes some time, so we can wait for a while. And then the next step comes is the migration of these servers. Here we go, and we have the first step, that is to discover. Second is replicate. Do not skip any of the part over here. For an instance, I'm going with replicate to show you here that okay, I want to replicate the servers, okay, and servers of the virtual machines to Azure. I want to replicate, and my workload is virtualized with Hyper-V, but it tells me that no Hyper-V has been registered with the Azure Migrate. Basically, at the back end, the Azure Migrate is using a recovery service vault and the ASR service. If you have used ASR to do the replication, so you must be aware with the infrastructure configuration that you first have to create the Hyper-V site, and you have to register the Hyper-V servers using the ASR provider. So that's sort of thing that is required here as well. So target region is West US 2. I confirm that the target region is West US 2. I click on create resources. Okay, when I say create resources, so of course at the back end it's creating the recovery service vault, and we'll use that ASR service at the back end to do the replication. When we were not having the Azure Migrate, if you recall a few years back in around 2020 2019, when we were doing this ASR, so we used to use the ASR service to first replicate the workloads to the cloud, and then we used to do the cutover. We do the failover, and then we cut from the on-premises. So planned failover we were doing. So that is how we used to do the replication and then the migration. So again, the migration is depending on the replication here itself as well. The only thing is that I'm getting a unified interface this time, and this tool is not only doing the replication and migration, but the assessment and the business plans I can create. So those capabilities have also been added here. Then if I go to this is the time to register the Hyper-V hosts with the my ASR or Recovery Service Vault. You see, Azure Site Recovery Provider, you need to download. So there is a download button. This is for the vault credential file that I'll also be doing, right? So there is a highlighted button on the top, step number 1, download, and then I will right click and copy this link address because I'll be doing it on the Hyper-V server. This is not my Hyper-V server, so I'm moving to the Hyper-V server and downloading the ASR provider. Provider is nothing but a small agent that let this Hyper-V server replicate the virtual machines and their disks to the cloud. I open the Edge browser and put that link here in the chat. Not chat, it's the address bar, excuse me. Here we go. So this is the link, and in the address bar I put it. Here it is, the ASR provider. Open it and install it here. Okay, I started twice. I'll close this and we'll turn it off, the automatic updates for this or updates for this tool, and then install. During the installation, it will ask for the registration of this ASR provider. If you have done the backup or the replications, so you must be aware with like Recovery Service Vault has a key. Okay, so there are two keys in fact for that. So it has a workspace ID and the key that is required to register. Here in this case, it is the vault credential file. Actually, everything is inside that vault credential. So for backup replication, you must have used that. So I'm going to download this vault credential, and basically I cannot copy the link address, so I have migrated. I have downloaded to my machine, my host machine here itself. So I'm going to take it to the VM, but for that, because I don't have the clipboard sharing for the file, so I'm just taking this XML file which has the configuration to connect to the ASR or my recovery service vault, and I'm putting it into a notepad file and saving it as .xml. So here we go, and paste it, that XML file, and save it. Or I could have opened the browser within that Hyper-V host and downloaded it directly to that. So here we go, asr.xml, any friendly name with .xml extension, because it's an XML file, of course. The location where I want to save it, okay, anywhere, I'm putting it in F. So I have got a vault credential file, and now I can register this, browse for that file. It's looking for that key, and here we go, F, Azure Site Recovery. It gets the details that, okay, this is the Azure Migrate Vault, this is the vault name, this is the Hyper-V site where this Hyper-V ASR will be registered, Hyper-V server will be registered. Then connect directly or through the proxy. So second option is through the proxy, but my server is having open internet access, so I'm going with direct connection without a proxy server. In case you guys have a proxy server, then you need to do the proxy configuration on this so that you can connect your Hyper-V hosts to the ASR or to the recovery service vault. This will take few seconds to complete the installation of this ASR provider and the registration of that. This is here. Again, some patience. Do let me know in the comment section what challenges have you faced over the period of time while doing the migration or working on the migration project. I'll be happy to know about that and to assist you with the solutions wherever possible. If you have still not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe that so that you get the latest updates on the videos that I'm doing on the Microsoft technology stack, especially into the Microsoft Azure, into the infrastructure or the DevOps automation and the security products of Microsoft. Along with the System Center products, I'll be having the MECM or the SCOM or SCVMM Hyper-V, and the PowerShell series I have already done. So do let me know about the feedback on those other videos as well in the comments. Here we go, final registration has been okay, so I will finalize the registration of this. And yeah, so I downloaded that ASR provider and registered it, and now when I say finalize this registration, so it's completing this process. It has found one Hyper-V host connected, as you see, one connected. Yeah, so the deployment is in progress. What after that? Once this is done, then we can start our replication. So here we go. This is the option to replicate our machines from the Hyper-V hosts that we have registered with the Hyper-V sites in this Azure Migrate or with the Recovery Service Vault. Here we go to the Azure VM. The workload has been virtualized using Hyper-V. That's fine. Continue. Now to replicate, we have to define the virtual machines that we want to replicate. Number one. So yes, apply the migration from the Azure Migrate assessment. I did the assessment, you remember, where I defined that by the name test, which has some servers. They will come up. Okay, here we go. And app server 1 and server 2 that I want to use. Okay, so the assessment will be applied so that it will suggest me the virtual machine sizes accordingly. This one I can ignore for now. Mars agent version is not compatible. So Mars is used actually for the backup purpose, right? For backup of the file folder or the system states. I have done a video on backing up your on-prem workloads to the Azure Cloud using Mars, Microsoft Azure Recovery Service Agent. Do find that video in the channel and have a look how to do the backup and recovery through Mars. All right, so this is where I'm going to fix that by creating the resources into West US2. This is the virtual network address space. The subnet is default. I can name that subnet accordingly. 10.10, I'm using the word address space here. I have few other virtual networks in my subscription with 10.0, though I'll not be doing any peering or something, but maybe required later in any of the labs later. So I'm just providing a unique address space to this. Storage account. Create a storage account for the replication. In the same resource group, I'm creating it. Azure Migration, today's date. Give it any unique name, West US2. LRS, I'm good with locally redundant storage. I'm creating this storage account directly here. One more thing that you need to take care is that this storage account must not have the soft delete enabled. In my case here, the soft delete is enabled. So this need to be disabled first before you initiate the replication. So do that. Otherwise you will get the error while doing the replication, and then it'll ask you to disable the soft delete. Simply you can go and disable that at that point. Replicate, but as a best practice, yeah, so follow the best practice, disable the soft delete. Here we go, app servers test. It'll apply that assessment for these two machines. This is the region. Now I have a resource group there. I have the resources as well. Auto create the storage account, or I have the storage account that I can specify. Okay, standard. Here it is auto create. So I already have created a account, storage account. So I provided that. Then this is the compute. app servers. This is the size of the virtual machine it has selected. As you see, source is 2 core and this memory. I put that 2 CPU core and 8 gig of memory. It is the OS disk. Okay, so this is actually the source of these machines. And then I selected the Windows here. The VM size it will select accordingly as per the performance, because I was going with performance, not as per the configuration or as on premises. The hard disk type that I want to use, so I can configure that accordingly. I'm going with standard HDD. I'm in the lab environment, so that's fine with me. Tagging is optional, and then I initiate the replication. Here we go, and it starts the replication. This replication process will take some time, especially the initial replication. And once the replication is completed, then I can do the migration. So there are 2 Azure virtual machines which are replicating. I click on that. In this case, I actually paused my video and now resumed it to show you that, okay, the replication has been completed. Failover has never happened. I have even not done the test migration. So machines are protected, they are replicated. You can shut down the machines and then you can migrate them. This will reduce the loss of the data. Okay, here you see, select yes to shut down the machine and perform a planned migration with 0 data loss. Minimum data loss if using the agent based replication for the machine. So that's there. There we go, and click on migrate to migrate these 2 servers. This initiates the migration of app server 1 and app server 2. This will again be a little bit of time consuming process. Few minutes you need to wait for. So you see that 8 minutes ago I did that. Now I paused my video and resumed it. I'm going to check my virtual machines list here. I get this ASR temp, some temporary name for a virtual machine in West US2 that is actually migrating right now. Migration is in progress. Now I refresh it, that's gone, right? Because the things are changing at the back end, things are going on. So I look for the virtual machines once again and there is nothing. Okay, I'll again refresh. The subscriptions I have selected is correct as your past sponsorship, as you see, but yeah, because there are some changes at the back end that are happening. So you see it's going on. The migration is in progress. Refresh. App server 1 is getting created. Running. Now is the time for app server 2. This is the standard B2MS series virtual machine. As you see, it has picked based on the performance or the utilization of the hardware. This is done. App server 2 is still in progress. I will log into my Hyper-V server in on-premises to show you that what is happening over there. I said that stop the machines from source. You see both of the machines have been stopped and have been migrated. This is the second one. If I refresh, so that should be also done, and that is getting created. Here we see. We'll wait for some time, few seconds. We'll wait here. And yeah, that's completed. I can see both of the machines here.